So welcome everyone. Just a quick note for those watching live, if we do get cut off, if my internet cuts us off, or yours by that matter, then you can just use the same link. If I get cut off, you might just get reconnected naturally. You don't need to press anything. So just wait a minute or so. And if that doesn't happen, then you can just reuse that same link and it should just bring us back into the meeting room together. But last week it was fine. So fingers crossed this week is fine too. So today I've asked you to gather a chair. That could be a dining room chair if you have one available. It could be your armchair in your living room or your sofa. If you're in your bedroom, then yeah, you could sit on the end of your bed, preferably somewhere that you can sit with your spine self-supported, but we'll get there in a moment. And then you just need a couple of blankets really for your last restorative or your last Shavasana posture. You may wish to have a cushion nearby as well. So simple prop list today. So I'd like to share a little story with you as we begin today, to lead on to a bit of a focal theme for our session this morning. So when I was very fortunate to have a grandma with a swimming pool. So when I was little, well, all through our lives, really, we've utilised that. She lives close to my parents. When I was little, me and my sister and a friend would play this game where we'd either wait for the water to become really, really calm and still, or we'd play the game when we first arrived at the pool. And we would, all three of us, have this intention to swim from one side of the pool to the other side of the pool without disturbing the water as little as possible. So disturbing the water as little as possible. So it was a team effort, and we'd get in really, really, really slowly and really carefully. And our aim was to swim so calmly and gently that the water stayed as undisturbed as possible. So we got a lot of joy out of it, you know, as we were children. And it took quite a lot of concentration, and we couldn't just sort of lash around. That would cause splashes and everything. So we had to stay very submerged and very slow and very graceful. And I wonder if we could use this metaphor towards the way in which we pay attention to our experience. So we have our experience that we're having. As you're sitting or lying there in your own space, you're having your own experience, whatever that might be right now in this moment. You're also listening to what I'm saying. And the way in which you're paying attention is affecting your experience. So I wonder if we could turn that same concentration and that same grace and that same intention of undisturbing or not disturbing our experience by way of how we pay attention. So it's very subtle, and hopefully you'll get a taste of it as we move through the practice this morning. But you might reflect on a time where you're doing a task, for example, and your mind or your attention is really gripping at the experience. So it might be, I really want to get this task done in the next 10 minutes or whatever it might be. Now that attention is very different to paying attention in a very soft, graceful, and non will-powered way. And my meditation teacher has a fantastic analogy for this, or another metaphor. So he talks about, can our attention be as light on our experience as a dandelion seed, tiny dandelion seed, landing on a bubble. So a tiny dandelion seed landing on a bubble so that it doesn't pop. Can we have that same lightness of attention towards our experience as to not disturb it at all? So that whatever is coming and going, whether that is pleasant or unpleasant, whether that is joy or sadness, can our attention towards our experience be so gentle that it doesn't disturb it? Now, this is a lifelong practice. We're not going to just do it in our practice this morning, but you might just be curious as to how, in the way that you pay attention, can affect the ease or unease of your experience. So I hope I'm not in a room with you, I can't have a discussion with you, so I hope that's making a little bit of resonance with you. And we'll explore this. So come into sitting on your chair, and if you can, sit with your feet on the ground and your spine self-supporting as much as possible. Your hands can just rest in your lap or on your thighs. And you might like to close your eyes. You might softly gaze downwards. And something that I didn't mention is for your spine to be self-supporting, you probably need to shimmy your way towards the front of your chair. If you are feeling exhausted today, or if your back is painful and you need that support, do shimmy your way right back and use the support of the chair, but preferably your spine is in its natural curvature. And just arrive. You might like to take a sigh-like exhale, maybe even out of the mouth a couple of times. Sinking your attention inward as you feel your physical presence gradually emerging. Feel your physical presence emerging into your awareness. Letting go of the grip of your mind, so that this physical presence is emerging rather than we're seeking it out. It's just arising into our field of awareness. So you might feel the shape of your legs and where your pelvis meets your chair. Feeling the space in which your body is occupying here, from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers and your toes. And as you arrive here in this practice today, as you arrive inside your body, can you bring the lightest of attention to this physical body of yours? So there's a sense of sinking down into your experience without any sign of gripping or holding onto. So you're arriving here in your body. And as your experience does become a little more apparent, could you have a non-judgmental attention towards it, a non-judgmental attitude towards your experience? So this very soft and graceful attention is undisturbing it. We're not trying to get anything out of it. We're meeting it as it is. You might find it helpful to have that image of a dandelion seed coming to land on a bubble. Could you have that same quality of attention? Soft, subtle and gentle. Might you relax a little more fully into this posture, releasing any tension that doesn't need to be there. And start to feel into your back body. Start to feel into your back. And feel with that same graceful, subtle attention. Could you allow your sit bones, your base of your pelvis, in contact with the floor, in contact with the chair, to gradually emerge into your awareness? And then could you start to very slowly glide your attention up the length of your spine, starting at your tailbone, between or in the middle of your pelvis. And then gliding up gradually through your spine as you feel into the different natural curves, as you move into your lumbar spine, your lower back. And you might be pulled by areas that feel a little tense in the back, or if there's pain there. And just acknowledge them lightly before returning your attention to your central axis, your spinal cord, or your spine that encases the spinal cord. As you move up your spine, sensing into your thoracic. So as your lumbar curve starts to move back away from the organs, gliding your attention through your thoracic spine, the longest part of your spine, all the way up through your shoulder blades, and finally up to your cervical spine, your neck, and just briefly feeling the head, the skull resting on the top of the spine. Broadening your attention to feel your whole spine. Can you connect into a sense of stability from this central axis of support? Could you feel a sense of stability as you connect to the feeling of your whole spine? That which is supporting your skeleton. And continuing on with that sense of stability through the back body. So strong spine, stable spine. And feel into your abdomen. Softening through the abdominal wall so the belly is soft, breath can move freely. Moving up a little higher to the area of your diaphragm, that dome muscle that separates your chest cavity to your abdominal cavity. Softening through the area of the mid-torso. And very gently sensing into your chest cavity. How might it be to broaden your awareness once more? Feeling it simultaneously into that stabilizing quality of the spine and a softness through the front of your body. Strong spine, soft front. And continuing on with that quality, or with those qualities, resting your hands on your thighs and starting to pivot the spine forwards, keeping the natural curvature of the spine as you come in to a seated chair posture. It's coming down a couple of inches before gently rebounding from the feet to replace the spine. And continuing this little inquiry for yourself as you explore what needs to happen in the body to keep your spine in its natural curve. So, most likely, tilting onto the front of your sit bones to pivot the pelvis, enabling the spine to keep its natural stability and curves. And at some point, you might like to explore, as the spine moves forward, the arms float off the legs. It's a little bit more effort needed here, a little bit more support through the legs. Could the front of the body still have a sense of softness? Back body still strong, stable. And just taking one more before returning to your starting place. And from here, I invite you just to take a minute to explore movement of the spine, movement of the shoulders, movement of the head. So in your own space, in your own practice, how can you move your spine from your tail to the top of your neck in a way that enables and encourages its natural elasticity, natural movement, while still supporting the rest of your body? And I'd like you to explore letting go of the will of the mind and just allow the body to move how it's wanting to move right now. Without judgment, allow your tension to be soft as you just allow your body to move, your spine, your head, your shoulders. There might be some residue from your night's sleep in your body, might be some stiffness in the neck, tightness in the shoulders, restriction somewhere in your back. So can you connect into that here in your own little moving inquiry? And just in your own time, bringing this inquiry slowly to a close, coming back into your seat. And before we move down onto the floor, I invite you just to take your left hand, so I'm not going to mirror you, the left hand through the center line of your body, about the height of your chest or throat, and then your right hand on a slight diagonal, pointing in the direction of the floor beneath it. And as you have your hands here, could you invite yourself to connect into your center line? And as you do so, is there a feeling of being centered? On your next exhale, try dropping your hands down beneath your diaphragm and be with the feeling of that for a moment. Resting your attention lightly, not seeking anything out, just being present. Try that again if you'd like. So left hand, right hand, connecting into your center line of support. As you next exhale, dropping the hands down towards the abdomen, sinking your attention down, being with the feeling, the flavor. And letting that go. And I invite you to come down onto the floor on your mat or on your ground. So you might need to move your chair off the mat. And bring with you a blanket or pillow for your head. And come and lie on your back with your feet on the floor. And just arrive here on your back in constructive rest. And just delicately resting your attention and your experience here as you land on the ground. As you land on the ground, is there still a sense of a strong or stable central axis, stable spine, and an open, soft front? Open to being present with this moment, however it might be. Drawing one leg at a time in towards the torso. And taking the hands, if it's comfortable to, around the front of the knees or around the thighs. If the chin is lifting up towards the ceiling, try dropping the chin and lengthening the back of the neck, or you could place something behind the head, underneath the head, like a pillow. On your next inhale, floating your legs forwards as the arms start to straighten, just enough to bring a bit of space between your thighs and your belly. And then as you exhale, drawing the thighs in just subtly, so your lower back gently flattens towards the floor. Notice what happens as you inhale and the legs float away with the shape of your lumbar spine, your lower back, and then really allowing that shape to soften and yield into the floor as you exhale. So the movement is quite small. You don't need to do very much movement at all to influence the shape of the lower back and invite the connective tissues and the muscles to soften. Just taking a couple more of these in your own time. And then keeping your right leg in towards your body as your left foot comes back down to the floor. And if you can, linking the fingers together around the front of the knee. If you can. If you can't, hold on to the leg in any way that feels relevant today. And if it feels comfortable to, I invite you to start to press your right knee into your palms of your hands. Now, I'm not pressing really strongly. I'm just using about 40% effort. So press the knee into the hands. Can you feel your lower back gently pressing into the floor? And release and soften and yield. And if that felt okay, taking that 3 more times, pressing knee into palms, palms into knee. And release and soften. Feel into your lower back as you do this with very gentle attention. Gentle attention as you press, not like overexerting ourselves. Little effort. And then no effort as you release and soften. Once you've taken 4 in total, you might like to just extend the right foot up towards the ceiling. You could take hold of the thigh if you'd like, or not. Just take a moment inviting your right leg to lengthen, open the back of the right leg. You can explore moving your right foot and ankle. And then perhaps a little shake out, a little wobble of the leg and flesh. Had tea this morning, you might have a bit of a hot water bottle wobble in the belly, all that liquid like mine's doing. And then lowering the right foot, drawing the left knee in towards you, linking the fingers together, wrapping the palms around the front of the knee. On your next inhale, pressing the knee into the hands. And just breathing naturally. Exhaling as you release. And 3 more times if you'd like to. And what I'm doing is pressing the knee into the hands and the hands into the knee. So there is this this dance between pressing and holding, and therefore bringing this flattening, this pressing down with the lower back into the floor, more of the lower back meeting the ground, and releasing in your own time. Notice if there's any quality of your mind or attention that is worrying. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Could you try and completely let that go and just trust in your body's wisdom and just allowing your attention to return to that very subtle, soft attention. You may like to extend the leg, gently opening into the back of the leg, bending and straightening if you'd like, or circling the ankle if you'd like. Having a little shake out, allowing the tissues to move away from the bone and have a little wobble around. Good. And placing the left foot back to meet the right foot. Finding a sense of center here. So I'm going to come into some asymmetrical movements, but we'll move back into symmetry. So can you feel your left and your right foot equally planted on the floor? Sense of center through the midline of your body. And then coming to lie on your left side, if that's possible for you. If these side lying postures aren't possible for you today, then the alternative could be to lie on your back and explore movement with your right arm to begin with. And I'll come back to that in a moment. But when you come and lie on your left side, you might like a blanket or pillow underneath your head, bending your knees in a way that feels stable for the spine. So really what we're after is that the feet are about in line with the pelvis, if possible. Shoulders, hips, and feet are about in line with one another. And get a sense of that, get a sense of where your spine is in space. Where your pelvis is in relation to your shoulders. Good. So coming into our shoulder sequence and using this sequence to help open the upper part of the spine. And in doing so, helping to maintain our natural elasticity of the back of the spine and the structures around it. So we start by sliding the right fingertips past the left, spreading through the shoulder blades. Just as far as feels comfortable before sliding the right hand along the left arm, along the upper chest, and then be gentle here. Just a little inquiry to reach the right elbow down towards the floor. Let's not unfold completely before sliding, gliding back. Now, if you're on your back, you could explore this, taking the right hand along the chest and along the left arm as far as feels comfortable. So adapt the movement to suit you. As you move through this movement, could you stay connected to how the back body feels as you open and change the shape of the spine? At some point, you may like to open that right arm fully to the side, easing the right shoulder towards the floor. Breathing freely. And do allow the rest of your body to respond organically. So if your knees come apart, allow that to happen. So we're looking for a quality of ease in the body as we open and rotate the different sections of the spine. And you might like to move on to the second movement here, which is when we keep the right arm straight. And then it stays straight as perhaps we follow the hand with the head and open the arm out to the side. And this movement is more important, I would say, to allow the legs and the pelvis to respond. To allow the hip to lift if it is asking to lift. And err on the side of caution. You might just come a little way. If there's restriction through this right shoulder or the front of the chest, just come a little way. And if it doesn't feel right, then change it. Don't do it. Maintaining this intention of subtle, graceful attention allows us to really meet our experience without that will-driven power of the mind pushing us to where the mind wants us to go and the body's actually saying or requesting something quite different. And you can move on to the next movement, and the next movement could be a rotation. So step one could be the hands drawing an arc over the head and then retreating back in the same direction. That might be too much for that right shoulder, in which case do adapt the movement. You could circle this ball and socket joint by taking the hand to the shoulder and circling the elbow, small circles or large circles. You can do the same if you're lying on your back, adapting the movement. Or you could just take a moment of a bit of freestyle, just moving in the way that your body is guiding itself towards. Can feel nice to add the leg into this movement if you'd like, as the shoulder opens and the spine rotates The right leg could extend forwards. Like a pendulum, it moves backwards on the diagonal as the right arm moves forwards. And the head may follow the arm, it may not, depending on how this movement feels for the head and the neck. Do allow the head to relax as much as possible so you're not hovering it above the ground. And then briefly just come and rest on your side again, your left side, or pausing on your back if you're on your back. Couple of breaths, 3 breaths with gentle attention. And then in your own time, finding your way onto your second side, coming to lie on your right side. And remembering that alignment of the spine. So can your shoulders and your hips be in line? And then your feet in line with your hips, if possible. Thereabouts. You don't have to be pedantic about it, just to bring some stability through this side lying posture. Extending your left arm out in front of you. And again, you might be doing this on your back, and that's fine. Good. So left hand resting on top of right, starting to reach the left fingertips forward slightly, spreading through the shoulder blades, sliding and gliding your left hand along the inner right arm, along the upper chest. And just to begin with, just using the elbow to open. It might just open a little bit, it might open towards the floor before sliding back along, meeting the right palm. Continuing in your own speed. Breathing easily, breathing freely. Moment to moment, soft attention. And this soft attention allows the body to take the reins. At some point, it might be that the left arm starts to open out fully or part way to the side. So you just be the judge of that. It might not. The elbow might stay bent, particularly if there's some scar tissue on the side or if there's trauma or healing happening here. So please take care. And what you might start to feel subtly is a yielding, an opening up of the upper back, opening up of the front of the chest. Patient attention, so we're not rushing to an end goal. How is the quality of your attention? Can it yield a little more fully so that the experience is really all that you're aware of? There isn't any gripping in the mind. At some point you might like to move to the second movement. So the left arm extends up towards your ceiling, straight, and then opens out to the side just enough to feel an opening through the chest, a spiral through the spine. Maybe the head follows the hand. You can play with both. As the head follows the hand, you might feel a little bit more sensation in the upper back, and sides of the neck. So if this is suitable for you today, then continue. If it's not, then keep the head facing upwards. With that soft, graceful attention, does this feel different? Does this movement feel different to the slide and glide? And how does it feel different in your back and different sections of your spine? Is your body free to breathe how it needs to breathe? And then at some point you might like to start moving through the rotational movement. It might just be an elbow circle. Loosening up the shoulder blade, chest. It might be a full arm circle, or it might be somewhere in between. And when that will-driven mind can soften and there's just this soft attention, then there can be a quality of playfulness with your practice. This joyful play of, where's my body at today? What feels good? What doesn't? How can I adapt the movement to feel serving for me today? And there might be a bit of freestyle movement here. You could add the leg into the movement if you'd like. The leg might come forwards, as the arm comes back. And then making your way just to lie on your right side. And arriving in this still place for a moment. Still body, quiet mind, just resting on your experience, being here on your right side or on your back. And the next invitation, so I'm going to split, I'm going to give two different possibilities next. Now, those of you comfortable lying on your front, on your belly, then come and lie on your front. Some of you, this isn't suitable at the moment, in which case come and lie on your back. So I'm going to give you two different options here. People that are comfortable at this moment in time today, comfortable lying on your front, come and lie on your belly, and you could just rest there for a moment. You could rest your head in your arms. You could use a blanket or a pillow. And if you're coming to lie on your back, because front lying isn't suitable for you today, then come and lie on your back. So those of you on your back, you could either take your arms overhead, or you could take the hands, if raising the arms over the shoulders isn't suitable, you could take the hands across the chest. Or you could link the hands behind the head and have the elbows out. So I'm giving a few options here. And start to walk your feet over to the right side. And then slide your torso over to the right side. So you're making a sort of C-like shape from your heels all the way up to the top of your head. If the hands are on the shoulders, the same goes for the torso. And now stay there for as long as feels comfortable, before moving on to your other side. And it might be that you do twice on each side, or you might do once and then come and pause onto your back again. You front liers, sliding the elbows forwards and coming into a small cobra, or more commonly known more recently by Donna Farhi, an up puppy posture. So the elbows might be underneath the shoulders. They might be a little bit wider than the shoulders, and the fingers are pointing forwards. Now be careful on your lower back here. If you're feeling any sort of pinching, you might feel more comfortable pressing the pelvis down towards the floor slightly, or you might need to come lower down by sliding the elbows forwards, so you're not taking such an extension through the spine. So it might be that you stay there for a couple of breaths and then come back to rest, and then come back and visit that up puppy posture again. Those of you coming into your side bend, taking your time, you might have done your right and your left side. You may be coming into another time each side. Once you've done your lateral bend, coming into constructive rest position, but with your feet quite wide, nearly the width of your mat. Arms extended away from your body. And taking windscreen wiper legs by lowering your legs to the right, pivoting onto the sides of your feet. Same with the left side. Giving your outer thighs a little massage. And you can explore moving between those two postures if you'd like. And then those of you lying on your front, the next time you come up into up puppy posture, you may like to explore some little crocodile crawls. So turning around the corner to look towards your right leg, and as you do so, bending the right knee slightly, sliding back to neutral before coming on the other side. Now this movement is easier to do on a sliding surface. It's a bit harder on a stiff mat. The movement of the knee might be very small, might get a little bigger. And another addition to this front lying sequence, and you might rest briefly in between, is to come and move into a spinal rotation, which we are doing in a slightly extended spine from the crawls. However, we move towards our back here. So the sequence could look like turning around towards your right knee, sliding your left arm underneath you, and then rolling onto your back as you open your right arm. Might have a bit more space than I do. And then to come back, we reach the right arm up above us, right leg away from us, and that pulls us back to front line. So that on the other side, bending the left knee, looking towards the left side, reaching the right arm over, and then rolling onto the back as you open the left arm. To come back, the left arm reaches up high, left leg reaches away, and that extension brings us back to up puppy. Now, pick whichever feels suitable for you. If you're trying the roll, then try it a couple of times each side if you'd like to get a bit more familiar with it. I feel a little bit jagged or clumsy the first couple of times, but it can feel really lovely once you get into a smoother rhythm. And I'm just going to give you all 20, 30 seconds just to finish your sequence, whether you're lying on your front right now, or whether you're lying on your back. Those of you on your back, if you've completed your lateral bends, your twists, you may like to take a little back bend by taking the feet to the floor, quite close to the buttocks, so the heels are underneath the knees. Gently pressing down through the feet to roll up through the spine and start to open the chest as the pelvis lifts up towards the ceiling. Now only come as high as feels within a range of comfort today. So please don't push your body. Those of you lying on your front, you might like to just rest here on your belly for a couple of breaths. And then front liers might like to press your way back to some sort of flex spine. So that might be a child's pose or an adapted child's pose. Those of you on your back could draw your knees in and hug the legs, or you could rest on your side and hug your legs in. Good. So all of you finding your way into that curled up position. So that might be lying on your back, curling your legs in. That might be coming into a child's pose after front lying. Couple more breaths here if you'd like to. And then we'll make our way into the final rest, into Shavasana. So in your Shavasana, you can choose how you'd like to set yourself up in your own space. I suggest that you have something underneath your head. So right up to the shoulders, that you can tuck right into the nook of your neck. Or that might be a blanket. And then you might like to have something underneath your knees. Cushions or a blanket. And make sure that you are warm. So you might put a blanket over the top of you. Any of you with lower back pain at the moment, you might have your legs over your sofa or your chair. Legs on chair can be a really lovely way of releasing lower back tightness, discomfort. And as you find your way into your Shavasana rest, just tuning in with your experience here, just asking if there's anything else that needs to be added. Is there anything that I can add to this posture to make myself more comfortable and at ease? Closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And as you do so, connecting into this symbol of turning your attention inwards. So even more fully than what we've been doing so far, this is a time for rest. This is a time for letting go. And letting go doesn't mean giving up. Letting go is an act of surrendering into our experience, whatever it might be, moment to moment. So as you invite your own attention inwards, could you soften the muscles around your eyes and gently turn away from that act of looking with the eyes. The eyes are resting now, settling back and down. And we're turning on this capacity to feel. Feel the jaw softening, releasing. Feeling the back of your head as it rests. Can you soften around the skull and any tension within the skull? As if your brain could shrink away from the edges of your skull. Gently sinking your attention down through your neck and feel the lower throat. You might, if there's a feeling of tension or charge in the throat, take a couple of sigh-like exhales, releasing any tension around the nerves in the throat. Ever so gentle attention in the area of the chest. That metaphor of dandelion seed landing on a bubble. The same quality of attention here, so that the experience can be left alone. Just silently, gracefully witnessing, feeling. Softening the area within your ribcage. Softening the area around your heart. It might just be a vague feeling of the area I'm mentioning. Vague feeling of where your heart lives in your chest. Sinking your attention further down now through the area of your diaphragm into the region of your solar plexus. Maybe inviting a couple of conscious breaths here, maybe even that same like exhale, releasing any tension around the nerves of the solar plexus. Letting go of any grip, any holding. Sinking deeper now into your abdominal bowl. Getting a sense of this wide brimmed area of your body. Sinking into the area of your abdomen. Exchanging any thinking, any seeking for just sensation and feeling. Feeling your abdomen. Feeling now your legs. and surrendering your legs to gravity. Completely letting go of any effort in your legs, feet. Feel together your legs and your arms as you surrender all 4 limbs to gravity. We don't need to make this happen with our mind. It's allowing gravity to take hold of your legs, your arms. Feeling now the base of your spine, your tail, gliding your attention up the length of your spine. Feel the natural curves of your spine. But just be a vague sense of where this central axis lives in your body. Try not to look as if from your head, and try to feel a real sense of the position, your lumbar spine, thoracic spine, and finally your neck, your cervical spine. Feeling now your whole body. Feel now your whole body, its physical presence, its physical body being cradled by the earth, snuggled in your own safe space as the rain is starting to come down again. And as the rain nurtures the soil and the plants, could your breath here nurture you as your breath rocks and cradles your body? Your breath having its own intelligence, you don't need to control it. The most delicate quality of awareness on your breath. And as you continue to rest here, with soft attention, I'm going to share with you a poem recently come across. It's called Diamonds. It's written by Ingrid Goff-Maidhoff. What if recognizing diamonds was enough to make them yours, and you saw them now everywhere? On the sunlit ocean, in the moonless sky, on winter fields and the tips of branches after the rain, in smiling faces, the brook, the lake, the stream, the kitchen stove, stairs, puddles, ice, clouds, anywhere life glimmers and light glints. Kisses, belly laughs, bubbly, wine, decay and crumbs, flights of fancy, feathers, teeth, words, breath. Diamonds, diamonds, all diamonds. Would you see then, in truth, the very richness that you are? Continue resting here. Can you allow your experience to be as it is, without tampering, allowing yourself to rest in your own awareness, just resting, quiet, present. Can you notice the moment the mind starts to grip or resist your experience? Very patiently and gently allowing it to sink back into a state of open presence. Graceful quality, allowing things to be as they are. Feeling the breath rocking your body, nourishing your body. Feeling the weight of your body cradled by the ground underneath you. Your body here in this shape, resting in this room, in this moment, here, right here. And you might decide you'd like to be here without moving for some more time, in which case you can just turn your screen off. If you're ready to start to move again and bring your practice towards a close, and inviting some small movements back into your body. And please don't undo all the work we've just done over the last hour or so. So take your time, stay present as you transition. Stay present as you start to shift the weight of your body again. And beginning to make your way into some sort of seated shape, on a chair, on the floor. And whether you're doing this right now or whether you're doing this in 10 minutes time after a longer rest, it's still a good idea to ground yourself before moving back out into your day. So arriving here in your seat, you might like to take that left hand again in the center line, right hand beneath. As you exhale, dropping the hands down towards the abdomen, getting a sense of stable presence, physical presence. And then if you'd like to, bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Just take a moment here. And I'm going to invite you to a little homework inquiry. If you'd like to, you can choose an activity that you do regularly. So that might be cleaning your teeth, or walking your dog, or washing up. And this week, starting today, you bring that gentle and graceful attention to that activity for the whole time, for the whole 2 minutes that you clean your teeth, the whole 10-15 minutes that you do your washing up. So just be with that for a moment. Ask yourself, is there an activity that I could bring that practice off the mat and into my daily task? Planting that seed of intention here with yourself to invite some soft presence into an activity of your choice. May this practice serve you and those around you. Namaste.